Do you have so much to do but just no idea how you're going to fit it all into your schedule? This can be especially complicated, especially as a part-time or full-time entrepreneur who also has a life and has plenty of other ideas that they want to accomplish. So if you want to figure out how to find a way to fit it all in, at least to something that's within your capacity, stay tuned for the rest of this episode.
Break my soul. You won't break my soul. You won't break my soul. I'm telling everybody.
Hello and welcome back to the MadeHerselfABoss podcast, where we discuss methods and mindsets to making more money in your business. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Bree and this is my beautiful business partner,
Shy, and we are so glad that you're here. This is Team MadeHerselfABoss, helping you grow without the grind. And on this particular episode, it's all about time blocking.
Yeah, so as you saw in the intro, we were talking about how to just juggle all the things in your life as a business owner, as a person with an actual life, family, whatever you got going on. And then you're probably a creative too, so you have other things just going on and trying to figure out, can I do this? Where would this fit?
Right.
All those questions. Time blocking is the answer to all of that. It is I see it as a way of kind of backing into the number, honestly, because when you're time blocking, and it's just that, it's blocks of time that you're designating to doing certain things, you can actually see what your day, what your week, what your month, what your quarter is going to look like. Mm-hmm. And you can definitively say, yes, I can do that. Mm-hmm. No, I can't do that. At least not right now.
Yeah. What does it look like when you don't time block? Like, before you got proficient and excited to do it, Bree, like, what was it for you before you even got into, I need a time block?
Well, I can't even say I'm 100% proficient. Okay. Because I think with time blocking, just like with everything else, is something that you kind of test and just see what works the best for you. Mm-hmm. So with me, time blocking is something that I'm utilizing right now. It's so funny that this is what we're talking about today, because as recently as like earlier this week, I had to sit down and just like refine my whole schedule. I'm trying to plan a wedding for later this year. Mm-hmm. May or may not have an engagement party. I'm taking on a new skill. Ooh. I'll save that for later. and just, regular life. Yeah. As, just having a social life and time with him and time with my family and all of that. And I was just trying to figure out, where is all of this going to fit? Yeah. As someone who I can admit who suffered from overwhelm and all sorts of things, time blocking has definitely just allowed me to have a breath. And, the steps in doing so, and we're going to get into the thick of it soon. The steps of doing so is really just breaking down all that is going to entail to do all of those things. Yeah. And then how long is it going to take? And then how can you put that into chunks, into steps, and then into chunks? And then where can you fit in your day those chunks? Yeah. While making sure that you have some breaks.
Breaks are important.
Some breaks in between, because you don't pack your day and then you'll still have the burnout. Like, that defeats the entire purpose. Breaks are very important. We'll also get into the Pomodoro method, which is like my new favorite thing. Pomodoro is bae.
Oh. Okay, bae.
And, time blocking it's really, really a game changer to being able to definitively say, yes, I can do that. No, I can't do that. And know how long.
Yeah. For me, I would say I have always been what needs to get done and how do I need to do it type of person. And then didn't really know that I was naturally time blocking before it had a name to it. So for me, it was been that, because I've always been not necessarily type A, because not always type A.
You're a little bit of a type A.
So what's between type A and type B? I'm in there somewhere. So for me, it was always organizing in my head easily top priorities, what needed to get done, and then allotting the time to do so. I think what became a little bit of a struggle, I hate that word, challenge. Mm-hmm. What became a challenge was the boundaries aspect. Mm-hmm. Always saying, okay, well, I can do that. Oh, I can do it. And figuring out in my head, not giving myself the time to breathe, like you just said, to get it done in excellence. So I would just pile it on in the time that I allotted. So I think for me, that could be overwhelmed. So yeah, I would say overwhelm has been my issue. And then when I learned how to scale it back and say no and say, okay, this is what I allotted in my powerful hour. We'll talk about that later. And this is what I'm only going to, these are the only days I'm going to work on it. It gave me air to breathe and the power to say no, or this is not what's on the schedule for this week. I think that has been the changer for me. And even like locking, because I don't know if like you, like me, like Bree, sometimes I get distracted with the scroll, right? Like I do something for 5 minutes, thinking I'm doing something really good, and I'm like, scroll. So knowing that that takes away good time of me being productive in the hour I gave myself, right? So moving my distractions away.
Valuable time.
Because I like to scroll a little bit, you know, my little recipes, my little fashion things, my little all the stuff, music.
Right.
So I think that has been my struggle. Fast forward to today, I'm a lot better, but it definitely took time to get to that point. And the steps, I would say, the first steps are looking at what I need to get done. And we can break it up into different ways because some of you guys out there are running your businesses and some of you guys are running them part-time, right? So I can speak on behalf of both ladies, but the part-time girlies, I had to look at my week and look at my schedule. So, okay, Shanika, you work 9 to 5. And not every day you want to work on your business, and that is okay. What days can you select that make sense? So my first step was looking at what I needed to get done and looking at the days that I could commit to.
Yes.
And that for me was Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, because you know your girl wants her weekends. So that I would say my natural first step as to getting time blocking started for myself started.
I think what you said was just really cool. I don't know if you knew that technically had a name to it, and it's having a theme for your day.
Okay.
So how I start, I want to say right now I kind of have a combo of both. So I believe in routines. So I have in my mornings time blocked off to do X, Y, Z that I want to be consistent at every single day. And the same thing in the evening. But during like the chunk of the day, the middle part of the day, that's where I learned from you to have some themes. So for example, like Monday will be the day I research things. Tuesday will be the day that I actually work on like wedding stuff. Wednesdays will be my MadeHerselfABoss day, and so forth and so forth. And because realistically, sometimes you do have to have a combination of them. If you're working out, you know, several times a week, or you want to take a daily walk, that's a daily thing. You don't just want to do that once.
Right.
So, but I think that there's no right or wrong answer to it. It's really just planning out, like you said, what your goals are, what it's going to take, breaking them down into steps and chunks, and actually blocking out time for however long it's going to take you to do it in a realistic manner, So theme days have been super helpful for me. Girl, hard stops. The whole point of blocking, the whole point of time blocking, I'm going to look at you guys in the face. When you allot 2 hours to working on your business, I know in a previous video we talked about like having, or that powerful hour.
Yes.
You know, either every day after work or several times a week or whatever, that hour, it has a hard start and a hard stop. And that means that at that time, at 6 p.m., everybody needs to leave you alone. That phone is on D&D. I'm starting at 6. At 7, you're stopping at 7. So it's like, start to wrap it up because you're going to stop at 7 because you may have dedicated that time to actually spend with your family and stuff like that. Where I would get in trouble is that I would bleed over all of the time. I would be like, oh, I'm in the good part of it, or I'm really in the flow of it. Let me just keep going. But guess what? Everything else in that day is now suffering.
Because you didn't stop.
Because I didn't do a hard stop.
Got it.
Now I'm behind. Now things are just back to confusing, and I literally just defeated the whole purpose. So hard starts, hard stops have been helpful. For those of you, you don't even have to have like ADD because we all get distracted. We're just in the age where social media has taught us to be distracted. But for someone like me who's like struggled with it forever, the Pomodoro method is a game changer. So for an example, in that hour.
Okay.
I would work, focus, distraction-free, stuff is turned off for 25 minutes.
Okay.
5 minutes, I'm taking a break. I have to hard stop at that 25 minutes to take a break.
Okay.
Then I can scroll, take a little walk, bathroom break, get some water, whatever. At the end of that 5 minutes, I'm on another 25 minutes and I'm focused. And I was surprised at how just doing that kept me focused for that 25 minutes. I was going because my brain is not like slowly drifting anymore. Because after that, I'm going to have my break. I'm going to be able to just, satisfy that little thing really quick.
Yeah.
And then if you do that, say your block of time for that activity is for longer than that, like 2 hours or whatever. I think after the fourth time of doing that, you're supposed to give yourself a longer break. 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. But when I tell you that can make me zoom through my day.
I know that's right.
Oh my goodness. So the Pomodoro method is wonderful. I don't know, like what other kind of tips has helped you to stay within the time blocking system?
For me, it was just the powerful hour, and that basically is just you, like basically kind of similar to what Bree said. You set the time. So in the same example, if your time is from 6 to 7, everything is off, distraction free. You're focusing in, you're zooming in on completing whatever that task was for yourself for that hour, distraction free for 1 hour. When you're set the timer, the alarm, when the timer goes off, that's it. At least for that powerful hour, you knocked out a lot of stuff. And you'll be surprised how much you knock out in that hour when you are truly focused in, distraction free, and you know that when that alarm goes off. And you can even do it, I think it's basically, we're saying this kind of similar, very similar things, because you can give yourself like a 5 to 10 minute break in between, especially if you scheduled yourself to work on a Monday from 6 to 8:30. You can give yourself that 10-minute break to scroll, walk, do whatever, and then do it again for another hour. It's just really powerful when you know that you're knocking stuff out. So for me, it's also making sure I also identify. For me, I like small numbers because it makes me feel like I'm doing something. But 3 main priority tasks in my business that's helping me move the business forward, or whatever the homework is, because we do assign ourselves each other homework and tasks to get done. So for me, it's at least one revenue generating activity to help us bring in revenue, right? So I hope you guys are prioritizing revenue generated activities to help you push your business forward. One task that helps, like administrative tasks that we may need to get done, whether it's writing copy, whether it's reviewing something, whether it's following up in the DMs with people, whatever administratively, or pitching, whatever administrative stuff that we need to do, I make sure I dedicate a time to that. And then I look at what else needs to be done as far as on the part that I play. Like, do I need to create more content? Do I need to schedule things out? Like, what do I need to do to help move the business forward in my specific lane? So those are, at least I pick 3 tasks to knock out. And typically it's like a 6 to 8:30 or a 6 to 9, however I schedule that on those Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, because I want my Fridays back. Now, I can't say it hasn't been a time where I haven't done something on a Friday, whether because I was either really excited or maybe I didn't feel good on a Wednesday, but I still need to get something done. Like, I made sure that I allotted the time for it, but I made sure I picked like my 3 priorities so I don't feel overwhelmed, especially because I'm working.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely. No, that's excellent. So as you can see and hear, like there are so many within that time blocking, there's so many methods to actually getting it done. And I think it really comes down to you learning yourself, knowing yourself, testing things out.
Yeah.
Like,
that's it.
And I love how you talked about what those priorities are going to be. See, for me, I would do that, figure out those priority things, like as I'm looking over my week and actually, and time block your stuff in advance too.
Oh, please.
I suggest on a Sunday or whatever day that you choose to like prepare for the days to come, look it over, you say, okay, 2 hours here, 2 hours here, whatever this is, block out literally everything. Personal life too. Block it out so that you know what you're going to be doing. And so for that week, those days coming, you can visually see it like in your calendar. Google Calendar is great. I use the one that comes with the Apple products. And I feel so much better being able to say, yes, I can commit to that. No, I can't commit to that. When people ask me something last minute, because I can look at my calendar,
and see what's
I
there.
have something blocked for that time, or actually I'm free. And
Nice.
it just feels so good.
Nice.
And also one more thing I just wanted to throw on the back of that hard stop thing that I said, because as I mentioned, I am a big culprit of just like bleeding over. I'm like, just a few more minutes. It is so much better to just have some progress made than nothing at all. You don't want to run into that overwhelm, which can happen when you allow yourself to bleed over. You're going to run into some overwhelm somewhere, especially if you have like a neurodivergent brain like mine. So don't feel guilty about the hard stops, because the progress that you made in that day, in that time, is great, because it's better than nothing. And now you have a better, more defined idea of what you're going to do in that next block that you've assigned.
That's so good. I hope y'all caught all of that. And even if you didn't, guess what? We can hard pause and hard stop.
Hard stop.
And y'all go watch this commercial, and then we'll be right back to break it down even further for you.
Yes.
Ready to grow your business without the grind? Visit growthwithoutgrind.com, the go-to resource for women entrepreneurs. From digital products and exclusive events to practical freebies and must-have tools, we have everything to help you grow no matter your stage in business. Say goodbye to burnout and hello to growth. Find what you need at growthwithoutgrind.com.
Yes. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that quick break. Now that we're back together as a team, let's talk about doing it all versus delegation. I hope you're not doing it all. And I love when Bree breaks down the do it all system, or doing it all. So I'm gonna let her break that down for y'all.
So I like to call it Superwoman syndrome. I've had it. I get it if you do too. It's where you just feel the need to do it all. And when you're not doing it all, like there's a tremendous guilt. You know, that there's this that needs to be handled, this that needs to be handled, and you're feeling like you're forgetting all the little things that you think are like more important than they might be. You said something really key earlier in the episode about like prioritizing the things that are going to push the business forward and what are going to be income generating, and you know, the admin stuff. There's so many tiny little tasks in all of those things, but this is a business whose purpose is to make money. And so first and foremost, we always have to prioritize like the income generating stuff, and the things that support that, you know, those are important too, but it's so crucial to prioritize them the right way. So how do you go about deciphering what activity has to come first? Has to be priority.
So high impact. So in my natural brain, like high impact are the things that Bree just said will bring in revenue into the business. So for me, that's the calling and connecting with clients, new, old, prospects. It's prioritizing what needs to be, how do I need to be exposed to the world so they know that I exist? Because 9 times out of 10, y'all are going through the things y'all going through because y'all don't know we exist yet. But encountering us, now you know we exist, right? So making sure I prioritize things that push that forward. For example, speaking, for example, podcasting, for example, webinars, for example, things that will push the mission forward so people know that I exist, that I can truly help them solve the problem that they can't on their own. So I think of looking at high impact tasks of that time. And sometimes there's a way to break it down. I'm gonna use small numbers for the sake of my brain to work faster while we're live on here. So like you think about the $1, the $5, the $10, and the $100 task. Of course, these can be higher numbers, right? So I think about delegating the $1 to $5 task to somebody else if I'm just the only one working in the business, right? Because a lot of times we're the first ones working all the things, we're wearing all the hats. Who can do the $1 to $5 task where I work on the $10 to $100 task?
I love that. Right?
And the people that can do the $1 to $5 task, maybe that can look like social media scheduling, caption creation, right? That can maybe look like sending out emails, scheduling emails. That can look like a couple other things that I can't think on top of my head. Oh, pitching for me to be on podcasts, pitching for me to be on stages. Like those not necessarily mundane, so that's not the correct word, but those tedious tasks. Bookkeeping, recording the receipts, one thing that we do at MadeHerselfABoss is anytime somebody makes a purchase with us, we send out notes in the mail. Somebody can do that. That's a $1 to $5 task. Those are identifying those administrative tasks that we don't necessarily have to do, so we can focus on the things that really bring in money.
Right.
So us having those sales calls, us really getting on those stages, us really not performing, because we are Beyonce's, but you know what we trying to say, right? Like us really doing the high impact tasks that really can bring in transformation and revenue, or the focus, and then going on places like Fiverr, whatever, or what are those Upwork,
there's a bunch of them.
Right, those tasks, let those people do those things, because me paying them to do that will help me even bring in more money. Right. So even another thing you made me think about, the mindset part of it, because some people might say, well, it costs to have somebody do those things. You damn right it does cost. But guess what? You paying out that $20 to $40 will help you generate $500 to $1,000 to more, all because you took that off your plate. See?
And that's why we prioritize the money generating activities.
Correct.
In my head, like my ultimate goal for this, right? Because remember, this is always something that we're consistently testing and evolving and just making it easier for our lives. That's the goal. How can I do this, make this money, but like ultimately make it easier, and maybe even not step away, but make it so that your activities that you do are the things that you like want to do, the things that bring you joy in your business. Like we're always supposed to be moving towards that inevitably, right? Yeah. So the reason why you prioritize the money making tasks, I call them, or the income generating tasks, is because even those things, some of the money generating tasks, if there are any parts of that you don't necessarily have to physically be present for, that you can also give to admin, that's my goal. Like I want to hop on Upwork and find someone who to pitch for me, you know?
Right.
To do that, to do the outsourcing for me, so that I can focus on the parts that make me the happiest, and that could be like creating the content. That could be creatively thinking of new products and services that you can offer, fine-tuning those things. The parts of your business that you really find joy in, you want to structure it in a way like, okay, stick to the money-making task first, so that you can pour into eventually making it so that that's all you do. You show it. What's your favorite thing that you like to say? Show up and shake it. One day you just want to be able to show up and shake it in your business, and all these other things are taken care of. But you're not going to get there unless you are first prioritizing the income generating activities. That's so good.
And that's the power of delegation. Delegation is your really good friend. So really think about, okay, what can I delegate? And even if you're thinking in your brain, I may not have the income to do the Fiverr, the Upworks, which you do, because at the end of the day, we all can afford anything we want. The question is, how can I afford this? But that's another conversation for another day, or another episode you should be watching. But what you could do is internships, right? College students always need credit. They always need experience. They always need the things. So do your research to see how you can connect with other colleges so that they can get the experience they need by helping you do those tasks as they are learning as well. So that is a way that is low costing or no costing, and you're training up a person so when they are done maybe with college, they can actually continue with you and be your first employee. Because they've helped you, you're actually generating, you can give them a stipend, right? Start off with a stipend. The next thing you know, you have enough revenue coming in where they can actually be an employee for you. So it's all a thought process on how you think about doing it, but there is a way to do it, is what we're saying. Delegation is your friend, my good friend.
She's right. She's so right.
Now, although delegation is your good friend, sometimes a lot of things we just talked about is all things business. But what about your personal life? What about your love life? What about all things personal? So let's talk through how to integrate all these things as we are these amazing women.
First of all, just have to put out there, it's a must. Don't make the mistakes I have in the past where like you just want to get something done. It's all that you can think about. So you schedule your whole week, like your whole existence becomes a part of that. You know, some of y'all don't have a choice in the matter because you got, you know, little ones and husbands and stuff. So you can't do that. But for those of you who can do that and choose to do that, unfortunately, don't. Because that's, again, another way to experience burnout. And the whole point of time blocking is that you don't. experience the burnout, and that you do make and prioritize the time for the things that are important. I am telling you, personal time, social time. It's time away from that computer, time away from the business even. D&D is that girl, okay? D&D is that girl, and you have to, just like with your business, just like with trying to learn Spanish or whatever else you're putting in your calendar, you have to put that self-care time, that personal time, that time with a good friend or family member or whatever in the schedule. So like, just like that, I'm going to be here on this date, I'm going to take this day off, or I'm going to go do this and that for myself, or I'm just going to sit and do nothing. It is completely fine to schedule that in there too, because all of these aspects make up life. And it's especially hard as the full-time or part-time entrepreneurs. It's especially hard to balance that because we struggle with what should be optional or not. There's no one necessarily telling us what to prioritize when it's up to us. For some reason, when it comes to our self-care, we think that that's optional. And it's not optional. It's just as important, if not a little bit more important, because you have to have something in that cup in order to pour from it.
That part.
And that's just where you fall on your face. And we don't want to see that happening to you. So yes, please make sure that you are prioritizing and putting in that calendar, that personal and self-care time.
Yeah, it's definitely important. I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit, right? In case somebody out there is thinking this. Now, I think the word, for me, balance is a trigger word.
I knew she was going to say that. She don't like the word balance.
I do not like the word. And here is my case. I would love to submit to you, my friends out here. My reason for not really liking the word balance is because I just don't believe in balance. I believe that there are times where things take priorities over other things. Now, there are times where we can say, let's just do this here and let's try this. Yeah. But I think seasons, right? I think there are times where work may take more priority over self-care, and not saying self-care is less important. So I'm not disagreeing with Brie at all. I'm not disagreeing at all. It's a little bit more important. But there are times where you are prioritizing a little bit of things more. For an example, big campaign or a big launch is coming up. And say you're the woman who has the kids and the husband, or the kids and the boo and bae, whatever the things are, right? You have things. And you have a big launch coming up, and knowing that launches are time, effort, and time. A lot of time and effort, a full-blown launch. That may look like communication to those people in your life, saying, hey, look, mom, girlfriend, whoever, I'm about to go into a month of full-blown launch time.
Yes.
It's looking like longer hours. It's looking like mom might not be able to go to the game. It's looking like we may not have as many date nights as we're supposed to have. What's in it for you when mom gets through the launch and makes X amount? You see how I just brought my whole family into what's in it for them? Because at the end of the day, you
invited them into the vision.
Exactly. And I think sometimes, not all times, but sometimes there is no balance. It takes priority over, because people have to understand launches can be a lot.
Yeah, they are a lot.
They are a lot.
They can be. They are.
They are a lot. And
so you're absolutely right. See, for me, in that case, with such a strong launch, and like I'm communicating with my family, hey, I can't do this and do that because I'm going to be spending time. Do you know one of those things I would also tell them I can't make it for is so that Brittany can get some sleep? Still fitting the self-care up in there now. Still fitting it in there. Because especially to me, the harder that it is, and yes, it's going to take up more of your time and more of your energy and efforts and everything, that means adding on, not on top of it, but adding on somewhere in there, a little bit more rest time. Because you're going to need it.
You are.
You can't be spent and sucking the life out of yourself. And there's nothing to contribute to this launch. You need energy. You got to be smiling. You got to have everything in place, planned out, rehearsed, all the above. That takes a lot. So I would be telling hey, I can't make it to the game because mom is just going to stay home and rest. I'll be here when you get back, but the rest is needed.
Right. Oh, that's so good. How would you prioritize, because we have such busy schedules, how do you prioritize non-negotiably, if that's a real word, self-care and things that you need to rejuvenate and recharge and take care of yourself?
Well, to me, as soon as it's in the calendar, it becomes non-negotiable.
Brittany is very much a calendar girl, so that we are clear.
I have to be the more I learn, and I'm saying this because I'm finding out that there are other like neurodivergent girlies out there. You figure out, why can't I handle it? It's there's reasons. So to prioritize it, I just make sure that I fit it in somewhere.
Yeah.
Like that Pomodoro method, those breaks are crucial.
Okay.
A big part of it is like listening to your body, and this is kind of where you have to have discernment. You have to listen to your body, understand when to take breaks, but don't take advantage of that and let it lean over into wasted time either. There are moments where you got to push through, but the time blocking method to me helps you to do that. That focus time, because you know on the other end of that, on the back of this, I get to lay down. Woo, that's motivation right there.
That is like
I get to lay down. I get to close my eyes after this. I get to have me something hot to drink and like catch up on my show after this.
That part.
Oh, let me just knock this out. It's easy. Like it changes your whole motivation of being able to focus on that. So putting self-care in, I mean, to me, that makes it all the more productive when you're actually being active.
Yeah, that's true.
Because your brain does get that rest, and you know that it's going to get that rest. There's a power in prioritizing that just allows you to relax and focus on it again.
So we want to make sure you guys are making self-care a non-negotiable, that you are building it in your week, in your day, in your month, whatever those things are, whether it's prioritizing more of your mental health through life coaching and therapy, or any of the other the modalities that you can be using, or even if it is making sure you go to the spa, a full-blown spa once a month, and during the week you're doing those other things, your nails, hair, all of the things, whatever it is that you need to do, that you're building it in because it's important for you. Like Bree said, you cannot pour from an empty cup, so make sure that your cup is overflowing. Before you give to anybody else, give to yourself first.
Take your PTO days.
All of them.
Take your PTO days.
Give them. And give yourself grace. Like I know we talked through, before we wrap up, I know we talked through a lot of things as far as time blocking and sticking to your schedule on your powerful hour. But there are some days where you mentally just cannot, right? Give yourself grace enough to know, like Bree said, pay attention to your body, because everything we need to know is within ourselves, to say, you know what, I need to back up. And that's okay. Don't kill yourself. Don't do the guilt trip. It's okay to give yourself grace to just be quiet, to be still. And this is more for me than I'm talking to you out there, but if this is for you, go ahead and take it too. But it is perfectly okay to be still and listen and just rest yourself and not be the ongoing person that you were naturally are. So I hope you stay keyed. I hope this episode gave you life and then some as for your time blocking, getting your time in control the way you want it to be.
Make sure that you hit the subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube or wherever you're listening to this, whatever. Make sure that you are hitting subscribe, follow, whatever have you, so that you can catch the next episode. We will see you the next time. Take care, guys.
Bye, y'all.